Come on in, the man of the hour, Larry Kudlow, National Economic Council Director, sitting right next to me here in Washington, D.C. What a pleasure to meet you face to face, Larry.
Thank you, Stu. Appreciate it.
Before we go any further, I just want to say that yesterday, when we got that JOLTS report, Job Openings Report, that blew me away. 7.1 million unfilled jobs. You must be ecstatic.
I loved it, and it's so interesting. It may be the first time in history there are more job openings than there are unemployed. That's a very interesting stat. And I want to push my colleague, Ivanka Trump, who is involved in this retooling, retraining, reskilling of workers. We're going to need that more and more to fill the unfilled positions. I think we can do that. But
wages have got to go up.
Wages.
If you can't fill all these jobs, wages have to rise to pull people out of early retirement or whatever it is they're in.
No, you're quite right. That's the incentive for people to come back to work.
Look, when are we going to see it, Larry?
Well, wages are rising.
Not that much above inflation.
There are different measures of wages. I say wages right now are running about a percentage point above inflation. Real disposable income, that's the fatter paychecks. Reagan used to call it take-home pay, is rising 3%. That's a great number. That's the whole workforce. That's a good number. And here's a stat that I just love. Blue-collar workers are being employed at the fastest rate since the mid-1980s, when I was a Cub Scout working for Ronald Reagan. But also, blue-collar workers and service workers, low-end service workers, retailing and so forth, their wage rates are running faster than the white-collar workers. So this is an expansion, the likes of which we have not seen since the 1980s. It is covering everybody. We are crushing it, okay?
Are we going to keep going with 4% growth?
The American workforce and the entrepreneurs and the small business owners, which I think is the new face of Trump economics, they're crushing it. And they're taking a swing at the ball because, first of all, they're making more money after tax because the tax cuts. Second of all, we streamline regulations so these small businesses can survive for a change. But third of all, psychologically, President Trump comes into office, the confidence measures start the day after he's elected and have not stopped rising. That's really secure, have not stopped. And so he has said the war on business is over. He has said the war on success is over. You can keep more of what you earn. He said the war on energy is over. Now, people hear that. He's basically saying, look, just take a swing at the ball, okay? Go for it. I've got your back. This is a psychological confidence issue that is so important, and you see the optimism coming out everywhere, okay? The big companies, the middle companies, and most of all, the small new companies.
With the economy doing so well, we're growing, what, 4 percentage points? 4%. Why is the deficit going up? It's not supposed to be like that, is it?
Well,
strong growth, higher deficit?
Give me a year.
You know it's not supposed to be like that.
Give me a year or two on supply-side economics. First of all, the deficit came out $100 billion lower than CBO first thought. Okay, so that's not nothing. You're at 3.9% of GDP. That's quite manageable. Now, the issue here is we have to keep growing, which we will. This is not a one-time growth. We're going to have recurring growth. We have a huge investment boom. Capital is pouring into the U.S.
4%. I've got to jump in, Larry. I've asked you this many times.
Atlanta Fed is calling for 4% in the third quarter. So is the St. Louis Fed. We will be very happy to get 3.5%, frankly. We did 3.2% in the first half. Everybody said it couldn't be done. This is one of the biggest stories of the year, okay?
And it's not covered, by the way.
Well,
let's go to next year. If you're confident of 3.94% this year, or in the third quarter, take me into next year.
I don't see why we can't repeat it. I don't see why we can't repeat it. Because it's not one-time payment. This is not a demand side like, I'm going to give you a couple of $100 billion. This is a reduction in tax rates. It keeps on giving. It keeps on giving. So every small businesswoman will be able to keep more of what she earns in her new little company, which might employ 6 to 8, 10 people. She knows that, and she will keep on doing that. This goes on for quite some time. We have not had a business investment boom, right? Cap goods, machinery, equipment, technology, campuses. You know this.
You got it.
We have not had one of these for over 20 years. So that's why I'm confident that this thing's going to go on for quite some time.
Rising interest rates. The president says the Fed is the biggest threat. You're smiling here. I can tell you're smiling. I don't think you wanted the president to say that, did you?
No. The president, I've talked quite a bit about this. Look.
You didn't want him to say it, did you?
No, that's not true. He's entitled to his opinions. He knows a lot about business, he knows a lot about investing, and he knows a lot about interest rates. And he's issuing a warning. Now, let me add to that. As he himself said, actually yesterday, I believe, on Fox Business, he said he is not interfering with their independence. He is not going over there to tell them to change their plans or their strategy. He's giving his view. He's saying, be careful, because if you move too fast on rates, it could damage
And maybe he's right, because if you go into next year and rates are still rising, that could really put a clamp on the not the recovery, but the expansion at 4%.
I think, I think everybody agrees here, really. I think the president actually agrees with Jay Powell from the Fed. We want growth, and growth does not cause inflation. Powell is having a bit of a revolution at the Fed. He's throwing out the Fed models. That's very important. And Jay has said many times, growth doesn't cause inflation, and that means implicitly there is no need to spike up interest rates. We're just normalizing. So I think the Fed and the president actually agree on the goals. But look, I don't have any trouble with the president saying things. He's got his opinions. I have my opinions. We all have lots of opinions. You have opinions? They're good opinions. Why not?
I've got loads of opinions.
It's a free country. The media goes crazy over this stuff. Why shouldn't he? President's an aggressive guy. I kind of like it, but I think at the end you're going to see, I call it a condominium of thought. They're both going to agree on this.